SWX is in the capital city of Helena for a crosstown rivalry clash between two of the top AA teams in high school girls basketball. It's the 8-0 Helena High Lady Bengals versus the 8-0 Capitol High Lady Bruins. Welcome to the jungle. We have one of the top high school basketball games of the year on tap for you. Kempson Cross alongside Tony Arntzen. Now Helena comes in as the defending champs, unbeaten since Valentine's Day last year, and Lady Grizz commit, the junior Lady Jamie Pickens, is a big reason why.
Oh yes, she is. You know, she's a great all-around player. She's a big girl that can handle the ball. She can shoot the three. And very physical in the paint. So, you know, their offense is definitely going to work around her with another senior, Camden Hillborn, and then try to work some young girls in there that are going to have to get used to the emotion of this game real early.
Meanwhile, on the Capitol side, they won the 2015 state title as part of a sustained run of excellence here recently. They have yet to lose this season as well. As we mentioned, both of them are 8-0. They're led by Army West Point commit Taylor Sullivan.
Yeah, she's a very good, a lot of similar player, real physical, good athletic, big girl that works a lot of different girls into her offense. I like the way that she handles the ball on the post and moves the ball around, and very anxious to watch that offense work tonight around a lot of different girls that are good role players. They get a good 7-person rotation in there, and those girls play well.
Capitol swept in 2013, 14, and 15. Helena tonight will look to win their 5th straight. This is the first time both of these teams have been this highly ranked going into this kind of clash. We're excited for it, and we'll have it on for you on the other side live on SWX. Back inside the jungle, there's a look at Jamie Pickens, Kempson Cross alongside Coach Tony Arntzen on SWX. And Jamie Pickens, of course, the Lady Grizz commit at the forward position, the junior for Helena High on the Lady Bengals side. The pep band getting into it. And there is so much energy in this building right now, especially after sophomore Riley Tennis put on a clutch shooting clinic in the triple overtime game that was in the JV. Helena, of course, comes in at the varsity level 8-0, as does Capitol at 8-0. And two of the top defenses in AA as well, as Capitol High is leading it, giving up just over 30 points a game. And then on the Helena side, 31 points a game. So 1 and 2 right there, and 1 and 2 in the rankings as well, as they're the only undefeated teams. Now, of course, Missoula Sentinel with the ladies Spartans is always a tough out for anybody, and the ladies in Zootown are going to have a chance to play these two Capital City teams over the course of the next week or so. This is going to go a long way in determining this week especially is going to go a long way in determining seeding down the line for postseason tournaments and such, as Coach Arntzen, Sentinel, Capitol, Helena, all three of those girls basketball teams have a shot at taking state out of the Western Conference especially.
Oh yeah, the conference is going to be awful tough this year, and those are three pretty special programs, and I'm sure anxious to watch how this conference develops, especially this week as they play each other throughout the next 7 days.
And we will now have the national anthem here in the jungle, so we will step aside and give you that, and on the other side we'll have the tip. The Helena High Pep Band serenading the crowd here, a capacity crowd, standing room only crowd here in the jungle at Helena High School as the starting lineups are set to be introduced here. Capital will be first. There's Bruno, the Capital mascot, and there's Linbo, Megan Linbo for Capital. Also coming out, Katie Culver, number 21. Linbo, a 5'10 junior, Culver, a 5'11 senior. Casey Gross, number 22, is a 5'9 senior for Capital. And the 6'2 senior that we talked about in the open is Taylor Sullivan, the Army West Point commit, wearing number 23. She is a 6'2 senior. And Sydney Sheridan, who is one of the top assist givers and takers as well, as she is one of the leaders in the state in assists. Sheridan, a 5'8 junior. And the lights go down here in the jungle now as Helena High will be introduced. And on the Capital side, of course, they're built around Taylor Sullivan, but Sheridan and the others are going to have to get involved, both on the inside and outside, for Capital to win this ball game.
Oh, definitely, and I think that's going to be the case for both sides. Everybody's going to talk about Jamie and Taylor, and there's a lot of experience with Camden Hilborn and the Capital other starters, but I'm telling you that the other four on the floor are going to have to get themselves involved, and Jamie and Taylor are going to have to do a good job of getting them. These are two very well-coached basketball teams that are not going to let one player dominate this game, and I really think it's going to come down to the other four kids on the team, and then go right into your bench. Your next two people off the bench are going to be key players in this highly emotional game.
Osved, Cloker, Hilborn, Marcel, and Pickens are the starting five for Helena High. And 1 and 2 in the state, 8-0 coming in, unbeaten at the halfway point in the season, because there's only 18 regular season games. This is the 9th for each of the teams. And there was already going to be excitement in this building, and then we saw the Triple OT JV game, where again Riley Tennis seemed like every clutch shot that Helena needed to finally pull that one out.
Yeah, she really did. She was iced down with free throw and three-pointers, rebounded well, and got some putbacks to keep everything pushing along, and then got the game winner at the end. And it is a great atmosphere. This is as good a crowd as this gym has seen in a long time, and it's very exciting to see basketball back like this, and both these teams deserve it. They're, like I said before, very well-coached basketball teams, and these girls take a lot of pride in what they're doing. It's going to be a fun game to watch tonight.
No question about it. Basketball about to go up on a Tuesday night. Here we go. Pickens with the second swipe gets it to Hilborn, and Helena will have the first offensive possession of this crosstown clash. Hilborn for three. No good off the back of the iron. Pickens goes for the rebound, but it's collected by Paige Osved. Now inside, Hilborn with their first attempt from inside. And both these teams struggling to have it. Whoa, and they both go to the floor there, as it's Linbo and Hilborn going to the floor. And 30 seconds into this game, you already see, like you said, all the pride that both these teams take in this, in every possession.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of this kind of stuff. There's going to be a lot of action on the floor. These are two very physical, intense basketball teams, and they're taught to get on the floor and win those battles, and they take a lot of pride in it, so that's going to be a big part of the game.
Capital gets past the press of the Bengals to go into the half court for their first offensive possession. A lot of physicality early as we're a minute in.
Really anxious to see which one of these other players step up and make an early shot. You saw Helena High miss some pretty easy shots at the bucket down there early, and then Jamie comes up with the big block.
A big block from Pickens, who averages 2 a game, which puts her in the top 5 of AA in the state of Montana. She's up there in a lot of statistical categories as one of the premier players in the state.
Yeah, just about everyone, and you know the difference is this year she's learned to block shots without fouling, and she's done a great job of keeping herself out of foul trouble.
And a steal by Paige Osved has Helena back at the offensive end. She averages a couple steals a game. That puts her in the top 15 in the state in that category, and a spinning drive there, but it won't go.
Like I said earlier, it looks like great. Helena High's had a lot of shots at the bucket. They're just missing right now. They're doing a great job of getting the ball to the hole.
Foul was on Cloaker. Now Hilborn with the steal, goes up with it. No good, but contact. No call. And Hilborn now called for a foul. So it'll stay with Capital. They'll try to break the press.
It's a very good job by Capital defense, not fouling Camden in the lane like that. You know, Camden does a great job of getting there, and they got to do a good job of not fouling her and put her in the free throw line. They did a good job of that.
Sydney Sheridan almost lost the handle, then gets it to Katie Culver for the game's first points. We're inside 6 to go, and it's 2-0 Capital. And now Sheridan with the foul at the other end.
I think these starter girls right now got to be very careful about getting that second foul early in the game. And again, that's just handling the emotion of it and making sure you're smart.
Drive there, but Cloaker can't get it. She was too far under the basket. Osved out to Pickens. Pickens spots up. Three is no good. Hilborn going for the rebound, but Culver will collect it. Linbo has been key to get it down the court for Capital as they've tried to break the press, and that one time just in transition. Now she spots up for a two, and no good. Jamie Pickens with the rebound. Pickens with a drive, and she's fouled on her way up. That'll be against Sullivan.
It's fun to watch Jamie handle the ball out there for, you know, a big girl, so athletic and smooth with the ball. And the one thing she's done a great job of this year is stacking up on assists. She's averaging a couple, 2 or 3 assists a game, and she can really handle that ball, and that's made a big difference in her game. Correction,
the foul was on Casey Gross. Pickens shoots 64% from the foul line. Still puts her in the top 25 in the state.
I know at one time, and I'm going to say back when she was about 12 years old, she won a national championship in free throw shooting. So to watch her miss 2 in a row is pretty unbelievable.
So it remains 2-0 inside 5 minutes to go in the first. Just over 3 minutes gone. Linbo looking for some help. Might have been intended for Sheridan, and it got there, but by way of Gross.
Very good defense by both teams, which is exactly what we expected.
The top 2 defensive teams in AA. Now, a fast break opportunity converted. No. That looked good, but it did not fall for Helena.
It's got to be at least 4 shots missed at the bucket for Helena High early.
And now Casey Gross coming the other way.
Yeah, that's the difference right now is Capital scoring at the bucket, Helena High's missing, and that's something they're going to have to get taken care of right away.
Only 4-0 now as we're halfway through the first. 2 team fouls on each side. And that's a third. Second, no, it's only the first on Sullivan. And Pickens will go to the line for the second time.
I got a feeling we're going to see a lot of that right now early. Jamie working on Sullivan, trying to get Sullivan to foul her. Jamie's a little more physical player and has a chance to get Sullivan in foul trouble, and I think we're going to see a lot of that here in the rest of the first quarter.
First points for Helena is by way of a Jamie Pickens free throw, and that clash we talked about in the open, that matchup down low, is a game within the game between Sullivan and Pickens, like you were just talking about.
Yeah, and I think it's a very, very important one. Neither one of those two can get themselves in foul trouble, so they're going to have to be smart early in the game.
That one in and out. So it's a 3-point game. Capital still with the lead. Capital trying to do handoffs instead of passes, as no call, as Pickens will be credited with the block on Gross there. Looked clean to me.
Yeah, very good block, and Jamie does a great job of that. Again, the big difference is she's not fouling this year. She's done a great job with playing with her body away from the block.
And she's only a junior.
Oh, man.
Peyton Osved with her first attempt. Doesn't go, and now at the other end, Gross looked like she had a shot, but passed it up in favor of going to Sullivan. It goes out of bounds, but it stays at that end. Sullivan, as you can see there, has more length than Jamie, but Jamie obviously has more of a build. It'll be a fascinating matchup throughout this one between those two Division I commits.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to watch two athletes go at each other like that. And, big compliment to their program and their coaches and the hard work that these girls have put in throughout their careers.
How about the quick hands of Hilborn and feet of Hilborn on the last two inbound attempts by Sheridan?
Yeah, there's a good chance Camden's as good an all-around athlete as there is in the state of Montana, and she is an incredible, fierce, competitive girl. Awful fun to watch her do all the things that she does.
Off the court friendly as can be, but yeah, in the heat of the battle,
yeah,
she's not someone you want. She's someone you want on your team.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. She is a great competitor.
Sullivan with contact, no good. Culver with the rebound, no good. Stays at this end. And coming into this game, Culver and Sullivan were actually tied for the team lead on rebounds.
Yeah, and speaking of Katie Culver and great competitor, she's one. I've watched her for a long time, and she is a hard, fierce competitor and awful fun to watch compete at all the things that she does.
Casey Gross, no good. Hilborn with the rebounds. Hilborn steps around a defender, no good. She was the only Helena Bengal to go up for that, and there were 4 other Capital players there, and somehow she gets the inbound. 3, no good. That was out of the hand of Peyton Osved.
Bengals are ice cold right now. They got to get themselves settled in here, and thanks to good defense, they've kept themselves in the game, but they're going to have to start finding the bucket.
Quick whistle there. And Paige Osved commits her first foul. Cloaker will come back in now for Osved. Ayanna Sivrud is about to inbound the ball for Capital. And Emily Kidder is into the game as well. She sees her first action. Of course, Kidder is a familiar name in Helena circles and around the state of Montana.
Yeah, she just came off a big game-winning shot. She hit a game-winning shot here a game or two ago, and so she's one definitely that Helena High's got to keep an eye on. She shoots the ball well. She's a real smooth athlete.
Sheridan will go to the line after the foul, and that one rolls around and goes out. Sheridan leads the state in free throw percentage at 83%. And she's 1 for 2 on that trip. 5-1. Cloaker back out to Hilborn. Hilborn, no good. Emily Feller with the offensive rebound and one. Feller with her first action of the game, the 5'9" sophomore.
The sophomores for Helena High are playing a huge role this year, with Cloaker and Marcel and Feller, very big parts of this team, and that's a big offensive rebound and a putback right there.
Feller 1 for 1 in conference play Those were her first conference free throws. 2 for 8 otherwise, now 3 for 9. And it's 5-4 now. Sheridan has it poked away by Hilborn and then ripped away by Pickens. Hilborn ahead for the layup. Has to get it to Osved, no good. Peyton Osved. Emily Feller gets tied up under the basket with 1:35 to go.
Jamie Pickens has made a living off that big full court. She's one we probably should have looked at as a quarterback in football somewhere along the way, because she can huck it. And she does a great job of getting that ball out, and Camden, being a good athlete, runs a lot of them down, and we get some easy buckets like that.
And she plays some softball in the spring as well. Emily Feller with 5 points to lead all scorers. And Pickens gets the turnover now as the Bengals snag the lead all of a sudden 6-5.
In a game like this, these little stretches here are very, very important. You got to break that momentum before the teams run 3 or 4 baskets, and that's where Helena High's at right now.
Cam Hilborn finally gets one to go down as she's been attacking the basket with abandon. And now the Bengals looking to get out and run. They like to do that. It's part of their philosophy under Eric Peterson. Part of the philosophy that helped them win the state championship last year. Of course, Bill Pilgrim on the other side has been at Capital for over a decade.
Both of these offenses are very well coached and fun to watch. They know what they want to do. They push the ball when they need to push it. They're controlled when they need to control the clock.
Kidder with the rebound. Linbo to Sheridan back up top. They are probably holding for the last shot here as we're inside 20 seconds in the first. But Hilborn has other ideas. She gets the steal, and Sheridan takes it right back. Kicks it away from herself, gathers it back up, goes up, good. 1 point game.
Great hustle. Great hustle by Sheridan and staying after that thing and getting the ball back.
Pickens' last second shot will not go down. Helena takes the 1 point advantage to the second quarter on SWX. We're back in the jungle at Helena High School. Kempson Cross alongside Coach Arnson. And high school basketball in SWX Montana is presented by the Shirt Shop and by DeMorris GMC Buick. Capital again, 9-8.
Great lob pass there into Sullivan. Something that Bengals didn't get rotated over and get the backside help, and very beautiful pass by the guard.
And it's the kind of thing that they love to do to Sullivan.
Yeah, you got to play great team defense against her.
That one went everywhere but in, out of the hand of Paige Osved. Capital looking to extend their lead now. And in the first quarter, got what we expected, a back and forth game as Linbo drains that one. They'll give her 2.
Yeah, things are going to heat up. I think that first quarter is what you can expect in a crosstown. You know, Helena High missed a lot of buckets at the basket. Capital, both teams played very good defense.
Cloaker good from 3. My apologies. Sivrud had that last basket for Capital.
And now you're watching both teams start to heaten up. They're loosening up a little bit and getting in a flow.
And we have a tie game after that Cloaker 3.
One thing I think that's very important as this game goes on, like I said at the end of the first quarter, is watching streaks, watching each team go through these little streaks and not letting the team get 3 or 4 scores in a row. That's going to play huge, I think, as this game rolls along.
Hilborn has been going all out trying to drive the lane to get some, I wouldn't call them easy buckets because she usually has a hand in her face. As a turnaround off the glass for Abby Marcil.
Another sophomore girl. That's 7 points now for the 2 sophomores coming. Feller coming off the bench, and Marcil hitting it 2.
Sullivan inside ties the game at 13. Hilborn spin, drive, and she got the foul call that time. And she'll go to the line.
She draws a lot of those, and that's what she wants going in there. She goes in there for a reason, and that's to get fouled. And you know, Camden shot 39 free throws already this year, so you know she attacks the basket, does a good job of getting people off their feet and using her body to get fouled.
Makes a majority of her free throws at 54%. The senior leader, her and Pickens, the only two returning starters for Helena from that state title team. Culver back in now in place of Kidder for Capital.
Helena High not shooting very well from the free throw line. Our two senior girls have missed a lot of free throws, so it'll be something to look back on at the end of this half and see where that keeps us.
As a team, they shoot 56% free throws, and then, of course, we talked about how Camden makes a majority of them. She was 1 for 2 on that trip, and it's a 1-point game now in favor of the home team.
I really like to watch the overall athleticism of the Capital girls, the way that they work. There's a great inside pass right there to Sullivan.
Sullivan has 6 points now, and Eric Peterson has seen enough of that. And we'll talk about it on the other side. 1 point, Capital lead. Capital by 1 over Helena in a crosstown clash for the ages, at least coming in on paper, as both these teams unbeaten, both these teams stellar on defense especially.
Yeah, we're getting exactly what we expected. There's a great job by Helena High breaking the press and finishing at the end.
And how important is it to come out of a timeout and score a bucket?
Yeah, especially after they've been getting beat up a little bit down in the paint, so now they get themselves an easy one breaking that press.
There's Sivrud. Gross from the elbow. Good.
It's the one thing I've noticed throughout the years is how well Coach Pilgrim's girls shoot the basketball, and obviously he was an incredible shooter when he played, and he's taught these girls very well. They shoot very well.
Casey Gross coming back after the Hilborn miss, and she's blocked. Now Hilborn has it again, looking inside, and no good. Culver with the rebound.
They're just not going to give you those easy ones down there. Not in a game like this. You're going to have to earn them in the paint. So you got to go in there looking to score, not to get fouled.
Good discipline down low for both teams so far. 5 personal fouls on the Capital side and miscommunication there, looking for Culver down low. Vanessa Walsh will come into the game now for Cloaker, and that's good to see for Helena High fans because she went down with a lower leg injury a couple of weeks ago, and so to have her back on the court is a welcome sight for Lady Bengals fans. If
you get a chance on the TV, take a peek at that right leg and just look at it. It is it's an ouch-looking thing, and I'm sure happy to see her on the floor today. We'll see how many minutes they can get out of her.
Hilborn from the corner off the back of the iron, and last touched by Helena.
Capital's done a much better job the first half of this quarter of keeping Helena High off the offensive boards. You know, Helena High got 4 or 5 offensive boards there early, and Capital's done a good job of not giving them those second shots here so far in the second quarter.
Inside, Sheridan, no good. Pickens looking for Hilborn, a little too much mustard on that one.
Yeah, she's got it. I'm telling you, that one was just a little much. She had Hilborn on the break there, but just overthrew her. But I love that she looks for that. That can change a game, especially a tight game like this, so quick. Those getting the easy buckets like that.
And you know, after being a head coach at the AA level for a quarter century, that young quarterbacks misfire sometimes.
Yes, they do, but you know they got to be willing to take those shots, you know, and that's very, very important and loosen things up for them.
Paige Osved still can't hit a 3 from out there. Lindbow was going after the ball, but she ran into Hilborn. And Paige Osved will be charged with a foul. as she was in the area as well.
Yeah,
5 team fouls on each side.
We need Paige to start hitting. One of the Osved twins has got to start finding their stroke. They're very, very good outside shooters, and that's going to be important for us to keep Capital out of the paint, is to get them to come out and guard those 3 points.
Something you've talked about off the top, and Eric Peterson mentioned in the week leading up, was those role players, those other than Cam, other than Jamie, need to get involved, need to hit big shots.
Yes, they do. And then, you look at now already Helena High, Feller coming off the bench. I think those 6th and 7th players are going to become very, very important, especially more as we get into the second half.
That one is stolen at the foul line, and trying to get to it was Sheridan, but an offensive foul is called. And of course, Hilborn took a charge to seal the state title game last season, and another big one taken here as that almost went down.
Yeah, Camden's very good at that, and those are effort ones. And obviously the one in the state tournament was awful big, and,
right.
and she's real crafty at it.
The only senior on the roster. Out to Osved. And Paige no good again from just inside the 3 line. Vanessa Walsh with a good hustle play. And now takes the cross-court pass back to Hilborn. Thought about it, now does pull the trigger, no good off the front of the iron. Sivrud coming back the other way. And over to Lindboe, and a block called on Hilborn, and Eric Peterson does not like that.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. Honestly, I thought I thought she was probably set more on that one than the one before. So I don't know. Maybe if you can get one out of every 2 calls on the offensive charge, right, you're probably pretty lucky. So it's a tough call to make. But
today's replays are being brought to you by Metra RV of Billings. With 2.5 to go, scoring drought for both teams here that's lasted a couple minutes. Culver back in the game. Sivrud from 3, no good. Cloaker touched it, and she was the last one to do so. Capital will keep it at this end.
Yeah, both teams are just struggling finding any consistency with that offense. Both teams are taking a lot of outside shots, which really surprises me at this point. I thought the ball was going to be played a lot more in the paint early.
Casey Gross gets tangled up with Cloaker there. Cloaker will be charged with their 2nd personal. 7 fouls now for the Helena side of the scoreboard. So Casey Gross will go to the line 1-and-1 opportunities.
I really look for the Capital guards, the 1, 2, 3 players to do more of that. They're very physical and athletic, and I really can see them penetrating that paint more, and instead of getting it into Jamie, looking to shoot that 6-8 footer, draw a foul off the dribble, because they are good physical players.
Gross with her first free throws of conference play. And 0 for 1 so far. Pickens misfires on that pass. It went into Eric Peterson's arms.
I thought we must have called a timeout or something. I thought Jamie might have thrown it to him. I wasn't paying very good attention there.
Frustration on both sides, especially scoring-wise. Lindboe breaks the drought with 3.
Beautiful shooter. Again, like I said, I'm watching Capital girls basketball for a long time, and they're very, very pure shooters. And Coach Pilgrim does a great job with them in the shooting area.
And no surprise there, because Pilgrim was the most prolific scorer in Carroll men's history.
Yeah, it is fun to watch his kids shoot the ball technically, and they're so fluid, good quick releases. They shoot the ball very well. Pickens no good on the tray there. 4-point lead, the largest lead for either team in favor of Capital, as we roll down into the last minute and a half of the half. Again, I look to see them get Pickens. They got to get her more physical and in the paint and get her in a groove here. I think she's outside so much right now and trying to hit that 3. I gotta believe we're gonna see her in the paint more. Here comes one of those easy ones.
Yep. And Hilborn converts it to make it a 2-point game.
Those are game-making breakers for us, and I'm telling you, those are big plays when you're struggling shooting the ball, when you can get easy buckets like that.
Suvrud all the way across the court to Lindboe, and does it again. Lindboe takes another look at it. Thought the better of it. No good from Lindboe. Poked away by Sullivan, and the offensive rebound from Gross for second chance points.
That was a great job by Sullivan to get a hand on that. Pickens had position on her, and Sullivan got a hand over the top of her and got that thing tipped to a teammate. And again, another easy bucket.
Last 30 seconds. We'll see if Capital can preserve a 4-point lead and even add to it here. Hilborn has other ideas, going inside, off the glass, and good.
I know for a fact she did not even ever see that basket before that ball came off her fingers and rolled that in. It's a little trademark of hers, is slopping them things in down there.
I don't know if we had that live, but that was coming right into your living room over there.
Yeah, that'd
on
be
one
cool.
of our floor cams.
Cool to get a replay on that one.
With 1 second left, Pickens fires and almost makes it, but it's off the back of the iron. So down by 2 at the half in their own building. Helena will go in. Eric Peterson, Bill Pilgrim on each side will make their respective adjustments. We'll have the first half recap and second half preview over the next few minutes on SWX. Back inside the jungle at Helena High School. Kenson Cross alongside Coach Tony Arntzen. 2-point lead for Capital at the first half break, and we will give you a look at how that happened with the first half highlights. Lindboe gets blocked there. And as we go through these highlights, what did you see in the first half? Especially as we go through here with obviously there was the defensive aspect, but both offenses were able to get going at times.
Yeah, you know, I kind of got to reiterate what I said early. Helena High just isn't scoring at the bucket. They've got there quite often. They're getting the ball to the basket, but they're not getting the ball in the basket, you know. And both teams are playing very good defense, but neither one can really get in a rhythm. And obviously that has something to do with the defense, but both teams are not shooting well from outside, and so you've got to think that we're going to see the big girls become more and more worked on in the second half, and a bigger emphasis. I know from the Helena High side of it, we've got to Helena High is going to have to get Jamie Pickens the ball in the paint, get her more physical, and get her in a groove. And I think you're going to see the same thing that you saw in the first half from the Capital Bruins. A lot of different girls having effect and moving it around.
We will have more for you on the other side of this break. A 2-point game in favor of the Lady Bruins at the Lady Bengals. There's a look at the Montana State Capitol building here in the capital city of Helena. Kempson Cross alongside Coach Tony Arntzen. High school basketball on SWX Montana is presented by the Shirt Shop and by DeMorris GMC Buick. And we'll welcome you back inside the jungle at Helena High School. Kempson Cross alongside Tony Arntzen, as I was saying. And a 2-point lead for Capital, as we talked about. And Sullivan has 6 points, so does Casey Gross. On the Helena side, Hilborn has 7 to lead the Bengals. And, I mean, what adjustments do you expect they're making in the locker room for the second half of this crosstown?
Honestly, I think Capital's going to continue to do what they were doing. They're moving the ball well. I look for those guards to keep penetrating. They're a little bit more physical at the 3 guard positions than we are. and I think they're gonna look to penetrate and then obviously get the ball into Sullivan. And she's done a great job of working around in that paint. She's real slippery in there and creates great position.
It's been a physical game so far, even though the fouls on the on the Helena side, I should say. And so they're kind of letting them play, but and hopefully they continue to do that because you want to let players decide games like this.
Oh, definitely, and you know, both teams are very happy that none of their big players are in foul trouble, and that's going to make for a great second half for sure.
2-point lead for the Lady Bruins. We'll have the second half on the other side of this break on SWX. Second half just about ready to get started with the Helena High Lady Bengals with the basketball to start. Down 2 to Capital. Kempson Cross alongside Coach Tony Arntzen. Dinner for tonight's SWX crew was provided locally by the Staggering Ox. Grab a bite at Staggering Ox, where there's something for everyone. Famous clubfoots, grilled flatfoots, potato bowls, rice bowls, salads, quesadillas, and more, with locations in Helena, Missoula, Billings, Butte, and Kalispell. Support local. 2-point game here as we start the second half. And the first possession is fruitless, and Capital trying to get it the other way. Misses on both ends to start this second half.
Yeah, they had a chance to get an easy one there and missed it at the bucket. And both teams definitely coming out with a lot of movement, trying to get the ball around and find somebody that can get a hot hand.
Cloaker, who had a 3 in the first half, part of her 5-point first half, could not hit that one there. And both these defenses have got to have some confidence after stopping the initial charge, or the initial barrage in the second half here. Culver was covered, but she threw it up anyway.
No, I've been looking for that little high-low from Sullivan to Culver. They had a chance at it earlier, and there it is again. And Marcel does a good job of getting the block. They had a great position down there.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad shot by her at all. Osved can't convert. Pickens with the rebound, and she ties the game.
Again, now we're starting out the second half a little like the game. Helena High's got 3 offensive rebounds early in the second half and getting some second shots, and that's one thing that Capital's going to have to get back to stopping. They don't want to give them second attempts.
Sheridan inside, no good. Culver with the rebound, no good, with a little bit of contact, and now gets it out to Lindboe, and no good on that one. Lindboe baseline. Now back out to Gross, who makes contact with Paige Osved. Everybody's okay.
Those 3 guards, boy, they are great hustlers. They play well together. Came up with 2 loose balls right there. Now going to get Sullivan inside.
Working on Pickens. Lindboe off the glass and good.
That was a great job by Culver of screening off Pickens after they got that rebound and got one in. Culver did a great job of screening off Pickens and giving her a nice, easy layup.
Pickens, almost went down, but no good.
That's where she's very deadly, and I'm not surprised to see him getting her that little 10 or 12-foot jump shot right in front of the free throw line. She shoots that very well.
Looking for Sullivan down low there. Trying to get her on the board in the second half. Just a little too hot to handle. With 5.5 to go now.
Capital sitting in a 2-3 zone now. I wouldn't be surprised to see Helena High switch up some defensive sets now. He likes that 1-3-1 trap. I think you're going to see a couple different defenses from both teams here in the second half.
Pickens went baseline and drew the foul on Sullivan. Just over 5 to go.
Yeah, just a little bit late getting there. Good drive by Jamie. Very, very good ball handlers.
Makes her first to bring it within 1. Today's replays again are being brought to you by Metra RV of Billings. And Pickens misses the second, so it remains a 1-point game. Capital still clinging to that lead. Sullivan inside and one.
That is a great move by Sullivan. Very good pass, but she plays so sly with that body. She's very slick in there and has great body control. She anticipates the ball position from those guards so well.
And she converts the old-fashioned three-point play to make it a 4-point game.
She's going to be something to watch in college. Not real sure. I guess I can't say what what kind of basketball that West Point's got out there. I'm sure she'll be playing, but she'll be fun to watch develop as that body matures and gets stronger. She's a really nice player.
Camden off the backboard. And Sydney Sheridan loses it out of bounds. Ref initially pointed the wrong way.
Camden didn't think so. She thought she knocked it back off her, but I think it was a good call.
Here comes Sullivan again, and Pickens again with the bigger body, boxing her out. Not letting her have any easy ones. From the elbow, Sheridan is good. Largest lead of the game for either team, 6 points for Capital.
Camden's got it. She can't go underneath that big screen by Sullivan up there. These guards shoot the ball too dang well, and they made him pay for that one.
Hilborn blocked down low by Culver.
I'm telling you, they're gonna let him play. There's no doubt about it. They're gonna let him play here, and again, that's the way it should be. That's a heck of a block right there, and they're not gonna give you any cheap ones in there.
Only one team foul on each side, and we're halfway through the third quarter. Here in the second half.
Again, Capital sitting in that 2-3 zone, and they play very well out of it.
No good. Offensive rebound. Spinning attempt, and Marseille can't get on the board.
That's the one thing when you're playing 2-3 zone or any kind of zone, you got to be so conscious of blocking out. You don't have a body right there to block out.
Timeout, Capital up 6 with 3:48 to go. Capital had the 2-point lead at halftime in the jungle. And they've outscored the Helena High Lady Bengals 7-3 here in the third quarter so far with 3:48 to go here at Helena High School in Helena, Montana. Kempson Cross and Coach Tony Arntzen with you on SWX.
Sydney Sheridan's one that can really take a game over and does a great job up at that point. She gets trapped up there, but she's a girl that you really got to keep an eye on. Very fluid player.
Helena was arguing for a travel call. Instead, Peyton Osved is charged with her first personal foul. Cloaker on the floor, as is Feller for Helena. Sheridan almost loses it, but gets it to Sivrud. Out to Gross. Corner three. No. Sivrud with the offensive rebound. Tries to get it to Culver, but instead it ends up in Feller's hands. Ahead to Cloaker, and contact there from both sides. Sheridan now with the ball going the other way on the turnover. Across, and it did not touch Pickens, is the ruling, as she was there defensively.
Yeah, a little scrambly there, a couple turnovers on both ends of the court, and things got to settle in here as we get into the end of the third quarter. This is going to be a real important 3 minutes here. Helena High can't let this lead get any bigger, and Capital definitely wants to keep the pressure on them. They got a chance to open this game up here a little bit.
No good on the three. Peyton Osved with the rebound. So Hilborn will try it again. Spinning inside and ran into Culver.
Capital's just not going to let him go in there.
Only 2 team fouls on each side as number 22 goes to the line.
Yeah, somebody on Helena High is going to have to come up and hit some outside shots here. Capital's just packing that paint in, and they're good and long in that paint, and they're going to make it hard to score in there. So You know, Helena High is going to have to find some girls to step up and make a couple big shots here.
Hilborn, one of the great hustlers in AA, as she leads the state with almost 6 assists a game, and also leads the state with 5 steals a game. Sullivan double covered, fouled on her way up.
Coach Peterson has elected to front Sullivan with Pickens, and Capital's doing a great job of getting the ball over her head. And once she gets a catch there, regardless of where that backside help is, she's going to score, get a foul. And these guards do a great job of that entry pass.
Just under 2.5 to go. Back to a 6-point lead for Capital, 30-24. Sullivan shooting 46% on the year from the free throw line, but she's 2 for 2 that time to grow the lead to its largest at 7, 31-24. Down 7 in your home gym against your crosstown rival. What do the defending champs have? They have a 3 from Cloker to put it at 4.
That's exactly what they needed right there, and especially in that stretch. They're going to need those guards to step up and hit a couple of these and try to extend that 2-3 zone of Capitals.
And now they need a stop. Gross inside, a lot of traffic in there. Pickens ends up with the ball. She looked ahead to Hilborn, but was not there. Pickens now, Euro step, no good off the glass. And she's tied up down low. No, foul called. It's a big deal because the possession arrow does favor Capital in this situation. And they ruled that she was trying to go back up with it.
Tough call right there. I thought Sivert did a great job of getting around that ball, but must have had a little hold of the arm there. Jamie makes him pay. It's fun to watch Jamie go court to court like that. Again, very, very smooth athlete for a bigger girl, and she runs the court well and handles that ball so softly. She's got very soft hands.
Commit to the Montana Lady Grizz as a junior.
Big miss again.
3-point game. 1 for 2 from the line that time. She's been 1 for 2 all but one time when she was 0 for 2. She's 3 for 8 so far tonight. And Cam gets up smiling as they're gonna call the foul against Sivrud.
It's a very famous smile that old Camden Hilborn puts on there, boy, and it's a competitive one. Don't get her wrong.
No.
That thing, it takes a lot to get it out of her, but it's a true competitive smile.
Especially in the heat of the moment. Pickens turnaround, no good. Sullivan with the rebound. Lindbo loses it, and Hilborn hustles it down. Somehow saves it from going out of bounds and gets it to Jamie Pickens.
What a great effort. Awful fun to see her do those little things like that.
Pickens reverses and makes it a 1-point game. She has 6 points in the quarter. 4 from the field.
And there's no doubt what we're going to see for the remaining 8 minutes, and that's going to be number 32 with the ball in her, or 42 with the ball in her hands, and she's going to keep going after it.
And she has it there, and she's ahead to Cloker for the layup, no good. Can't convert the fast break opportunity. 15 seconds to go. Cloker pokes it away at half court, but it'll stay with Capital with 12.2 on the third quarter clock. There's Bill Pilgrim, head coach of the Lady Bruins.
Big possession for Capital here. They're going to get a final shot of the third quarter and have a chance to score the last bucket going into the fourth quarter. I think this is real important for them offensively. They got to get a little confidence.
Sheridan with the ball, inside 10 to go. Sullivan up top, down low, looking for Culver, no good. Hilborn with the running attempt. Oh, just off the iron. And it's a 1-point Capital lead as they cling to that lead once again. But you only need to be up by 1 when it's all said and done anyway. We'll have the fourth quarter on the other side on SWX. Maddie McMahon with the ball as Capital begins the fourth quarter, and a turnover to Cloaker. Marcil, offensive foul. Maddie McMahon draws it. The 5'4" senior coming up in a clutch moment for Capital.
That's a big, huge play for her, boy. They get a turnover, and she gets down and gets the ball right back with by taking a charge. Excellent play for her to get in and make an impact on the game.
One of those role players that both sides talked about being so important, especially down the stretch in such a big game.
Every team's got to have them, and it's such an important part of every team sport is having those kids that will accept just a certain role, no matter how small it might seem. They're very important to have.
Good ball movement there, and Sullivan draws the foul from Pickens.
That's one of the things that Sullivan, when they're writing up the scouting report on Sullivan, she does a great job of pump faking and getting kids in the air and then driving through them and drawing the foul, and usually finishes very well out of it also.
And the first points of the fourth quarter are a Taylor Sullivan free throw to make it a 2-point game. 7:15 to go in a regulation.
Right away, that possession, Coach Peterson elected to go ahead and go behind her. He's been fronting her all game, and there's obviously a reason they were fronting her. She played very well with her back to the basket there.
And she's 2 for 2 on that trip to make it a 3-point game. Hilborn, Pickens, Osved still can't convert from the 3 line. Linbo grabs the loose ball. Sydney Sheridan looking for points. No. Looked like she might pull up in transition, but instead sets up the half court. Sullivan down low, fakes it and then goes up with it. And she has all 4 points this fourth quarter.
Oh, and that was a great screen right there by Culver. That was an excellent setup play right there.
Sullivan fighting through Cloaker on that one. Her third personal foul with 6.5 to go and a 5-point lead. Pickens working on Sullivan. Good. 3-point game.
This is the exact battle that we've been waiting for all night, and I think you're going to see it for the remainder of the 6 minutes now.
Winbow, a little bit of contact. Sheridan for 3. No good. Rebound, Hilborn. Coming back in transition. Going inside, somehow finger rolls it up there to make it a 1-point game.
I don't know how she does it, but she seems to get that ball to spin off the backboard somehow, and no matter how awkward it looks. Capital's been doing a great job down here of screening with Culver on Pickens and working Sullivan right off that. You'll watch Culver work her body right off of Pickens as Helena High sits in a 2-3 zone now.
Almost lost it. Sullivan was there to collect.
Here it is again right here. Here's Sullivan.
Up and good.
They're walking Culver right up on Pickens is playing the middle of that zone, and they're just screening her off and bringing Sullivan off that weak side. That's the third time now already that they've got it. They're going to have to make an adjustment to that.
Hilborn just pulls up trying to tie the game, no good. Sheridan, offensive foul. Hilborn with another charge taken.
Yeah, poor Sheridan just got a little bit out of control. It was a pass that she didn't handle very well. And can hardly really blame it on her. She got a pass that just was a little bit out in front of her, and it ran her into Hilborn. But good job of Camden of being in the right place.
Sheridan, the junior. Helen is looking for their 5th straight victory. This would be the junior class and below. This would be their first crosstown victory in girls basketball. And a 3-ball ties the game. Jamie Pickens.
Well, right now it's Sullivan versus
Timeout
Pickens.
Capital. And we'll take it with him, and we'll get Coach's thoughts on the other side of the break on SWX. Wait, hold on. No timeout. Thought we had a timeout called, but apparently we did not.
Well, like I was saying, you got the two big players going at each other right now, and you know, like the old coaching thing says, big players make big plays at big times, and these two are going at it right now, and it's being a lot of fun.
Long two by Sheridan.
And those are the people that are going to make the difference right there, is the other 4 on the floor for each team.
Paige Osvid finally gets it to fall, and it's a 1-point lead for Helena for the first time in a while.
Yeah, that's fun to watch. Both teams right now starting to heat up. And I think that happens when your big guns start scoring. You watch Sullivan score for Capital and Pickens scoring for Helena High, and now the other ones feel more comfortable in what they're doing, and we got a chance to have an awful exciting last 4 minutes of this game.
This time Capital takes a timeout. We'll take it with them. With just over 4 minutes left in regulation, Helena just took a 1-point advantage at home after Capital led for a lot of this game.
As I said before the break there, I think both teams are feeding off their big players right now. You know, as soon as they start getting in a groove, everybody else gets more comfortable.
Gross with second chance points, or looking for them, and then Pickens was a little too physical, was the official ruling there.
Capital comes back with the big offensive rebound, and those are going to loom big here in this last 4 minutes. You don't want to give second attempts to either team.
Tie game as Casey Gross converts.
Anxious to see what Helena High comes into defensively. I'd be real surprised if they stay in that 2-3 zone. Might even get a little 1-3-1 trap here. It'd be kind of interesting. We haven't seen them jump into it yet this game.
One thing we haven't talked about either is 5 seniors on the Capital side and only 1 on the Helena side. We'll see if that looms large down the stretch.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that. No, we talked about that before the game. I think, you know, Capital brings a lot more experience to the floor, especially in bigger games like this.
Gross 2 for 2 from the line. Number 22 puts Capital back on top. Pickens spinning inside against Culver. Fouled on her way up.
Again, now we got Sullivan on the bench for Capital, so Pickens is going to have a mismatch no matter who they put on her out there. And here comes Sullivan right back in. She got her water break.
Right.
Wet her lips a little bit and get back in there now.
Into the game for Helena is Emily Feller.
Feller had a big impact early. Right. Haven't heard much from her since. She's a sophomore that's very, very important to this team.
Pickens gives Helena a 1-point lead. after making both from the free throw line. Sheridan trying to get around Hilborn, finally does, but it's poked away. Feller coming up big.
Yeah, Helena High went right back to man there, and that I figured that was going to happen.
Paige Osvid off the front of the iron. Sivrud coming back for Capital. Kidder. Gross. Casey spins and gets it back out to Emily Kidder. And that one ricochets off of Sydney Sheridan.
Yeah, Camden got her finger on it, just enough, tipped it, knocked it right off her shoulder. Another big defensive play for Camden. There's so many different ways that she affects the game, and you know, all of them don't get in the stats book, and people don't talk about it all the time, but
that motor is something else.
Yeah, she's a difference maker. There's no doubt about it.
Katie Culver back in. She's been difference maker at times this season for Capital. And here in the last couple minutes, we expect, if any substitutions happen, it's going to be whoever the coaches trust the most, obviously, in the stretch run. Hilborn inside. Good. 3-point lead for Helena.
And that's one for Helena High that they'll trust every single time she touches the ball.
Timeout with Capital. We will stay here. Hilborn, the three-sport athlete, as she runs track in the spring. She helped soccer win 2 of the last 3 state championships, and obviously last year she helped Helena get a basketball state title with plays like this one.
Yeah, Camden, you know, she's just so much fun to watch as a competitor. I talked about her earlier, and she doesn't know what she wants. She's got choices to do any of the 3 sports in college, and I mean, that just says everything about her. And no matter what she decides to do, she's going to be very successful. And you know, the one thing I want to say, and I checked both teams out and talked to both coaches a little bit before, but what kind of students and young ladies that both of these teams put on the floor, in the classroom and in their schools, in their communities. It's just unbelievable. They're awesome people. They're fun to have around the schools, and it's been a pleasure so far watching tonight, and I'm fired up to watch this last 2.5 minutes.
So am I. 2.5 minutes to go. Glad to be with you. Glad you're with us. With a 3-point lead for Helena after trailing for much of this game. Able to go up here in the 4th frame. Sivrud. Gross. Sullivan.
Oh, Helena High right back into man. They're trying to get the ball to Culver inside.
Sivrud took a look from straight away. As we roll down towards 2 minutes to go in regulation. Gross inside. Almost gets it to fall, and Culver with the offensive rebound. She'll go to the line.
That is just great hustle by Katie. And we talked about her a little earlier, but just watching her compete and how hard she plays, and that's why she gets chances just like that right there. That's a huge offensive rebound with the chance to hit a couple of free throws.
It might surprise you to see that she's 5'11" and was the co-leader coming in rebounds with Taylor Sullivan if you just stand them next to each other, but obviously they're working together. And talking to Sullivan earlier this season, I mean, rebound's all about attitude and heart.
Yeah, there's no doubt, and nobody exemplifies that more than Katie Culver.
And the thumbs go up. Bill Pilgrim not happy about it with just 1 second over 2 minutes to go.
Still, that's a very big jump ball by Sullivan. She created off that missed free throw right there because they gain the next possession now.
1-and-1 opportunities from here on out with 17 fouls on each side. Inside 2 minutes. 2-point lead for Helena, trying to add to it.
Good chance we're not going to see any quick shots here unless Camden takes one.
Gotta love it when it's almost like they're listening, isn't it? With 1.5 to go. Hilborn, she can hit it from out there. Does not that time.
And she's not afraid to shoot it. Now they're back to front and Sullivan.
And Capital with a chance to tie it. Lindbo just saves it from going to backcourt. Sullivan looked at the jumper, now goes for the layup, and she is fouled by Pickens. That's her 4th personal.
Yeah, they've got 3 fouls out of her this half. Sullivan's done a great job of getting to her now and just taking the ball at her a little bit, getting her to leave her feet. And Sullivan plays very well with her body down there.
One-point game. Taylor Sullivan. No good. She's made less than half her free throws on the year. She's 3 for 4 in the 4th quarter. And with 1:09 to go, timeout Helena High as they are trying to cling to this slim lead. This is the position that Capital was in for much of the game. Just within, especially at the end of quarters, within a point or within a possession. And now Helena's on the flip side. And Capital, I mean, what is the approach here down in the net in the last 69 seconds?
Well, obviously it's just 1 pointer, so they're just going to play good hard defense. I don't look for any early fouls here. Helena High's obviously got to control the ball and get in their, their last minute and a half offense where they're going to take care of the ball. You got a pretty good idea the 2 people that are going to be doing most of the handling of it, with Jamie and Camden, and they just got to make sure that they take care of the ball. But you can't get too cautious either. Capitals they play good defense and they're effective. So we'll get a little full court pressure here, I would imagine, for the last minute 9. And
Hilborn had 7 at halftime. She has 5 in the second half for a total of 12.
Looks like we're going to get a little half-court trap here by Capital. No, they're going to go straight man, straight up.
See how that works for them. Down 1.
Camden is hard to handle with the ball, boy. Helena High is going to get it back to her. Oh, they just threw it away right there. I'll tell you one thing that gets real hard right here is on the sideline over there, and that's one thing that I remember Coach Keller telling us years and years ago when I was coaching here. We wanted to keep the ball away from the cheerleader side of the floor because there's no room over there,
exactly.
And kids get nervous when the ball's running up and down the sideline over there.
Yep.
There's no room.
I mean, as if there was any room anyway in this building right now.
Yeah, she is packed up, and they're having fun, and there's a big shot.
Kidder from the elbow puts Capital up by 1. Her first points of the game. And now going the other way, Hilborn will go to the line.
There's no doubt. We talked about it earlier. And, I mean, Camden goes in there. She's going to get the ball in there, and she wants you to foul her. She's going to try to force you to foul her. And, I think you tell your players time and time again, quit fouling in there, and you just can't help it. She has great body control in there. She looks like she's all out of control, but I guarantee you that she's forcing herself into you, forcing that foul. Now she's got to make free throws.
She makes the second, and that's just enough to tie the game. And with 34.7 to go in regulation, it's a tie, and Bill Pilgrim wants to talk it over with 18 fouls on each side. So pretty even across the board here in the 4th quarter. We also already saw 7 quarters in the JV game with 3 overtimes tacked on to the original time of 4 quarters. And we'll see if we have overtime here in this crosstown rivalry clash. I mean, why would these 2 teams take only the prescribed time to decide this one, right?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, this capacity crowd's getting exactly what they came here to see. We got 2 very good basketball teams duking it out and slugging it out and just making things work. There's a lot of things that aren't happening pretty right now, but you're seeing, athletes just competing and getting the ball to the basket and making big plays, and that's what this is going to come down to. I'm assuming we're going to get a 1-possession shot right here by Capital. There's no way that I can see them taking a shot with hardly any time on the clock and giving Helena High. So I would assume that we're going to get a take her home or take us to overtime shot right here, and we'll see what this last 34.
Lindbow, Sheridan, Gross, Kidder, Sullivan for Capital. Hilborn, Paige Osvid, Cloaker, Feller, and Pickens for Helena.
You know, the one thing about Capital, and I truly believe this, there's 5 girls out there that can take this last shot, and I wouldn't surprise me if any one of them took it at this point right now.
Winner stays unbeaten at the halfway mark of the season. Loser deals
Oh,
their
look
first
at
one,
that.
and Hilborn pokes it away
They
almost.
made that's a big mistake right there.
Timeout by Pilgrim. Helena arguing that they had the ball. 14.8 seconds to go. Metro RV of Billings providing the replay.
Either way, Capital retained it, and even if that's a jump ball, that goes right back to that offensive rebound that we talked about after that missed free throw that Sullivan got. Capital would have had the ball regardless. So they've got the possession arrow still. They would have had the ball. But I'm telling you, why you would mess around out at the half court, messing around with Hilborn there, I'd get the ball away from there. That's the last one that I'd want to be picking at.
That's also why Hilborn was arguing so hard that she had the ball, was because the possession arrow favored Capital in that situation.
Again, there's one thing I know that all coaches tell their kids in these situations is quit dribbling. Do not dribble the ball. Okay, pass the ball around, work it, but do not dribble the ball. I remember all great basketball coaches that I've ever watched screaming and yelling, quit dribbling the ball late in that, especially when you're trying to run the clock like that.
So we'll see if in a game that matches up the 2 top defenses in AA coming in.
Again, I'm going to be very surprised if they take a shot with under, anything over about 4 seconds left, because they don't want Helena High to have a shot to get a shot down.
Lindbo wanted the foul call, and the ruling is that Capital touched it last.
Yeah, and there you go right there. You take a shot, and now they've got 3 seconds to move the ball up the court.
Cloaker to inbound, 3.6 seconds to go. We'll see if we see another
There it is.
running attempt by Hilborn, and it will not go down, and we will go to an extra frame. Overtime in crosstown basketball here in the capital city. You see the Metro RV of Billings replay. It went off the back of the iron and then off the side of the iron the third time. Usually the third time's the charm, but not there.
Yeah, again, why wouldn't we? This is 2 very good teams, and these girls worked hard all game. We might as well take her down to the last 4 minutes and try her all over again. And it takes me back, though, to, when you're taking that last second, you hold for that last possession. I put it right into the old football terms with Tom Brady. Those guys in the NFL, you don't want to give him any seconds on the clock, regardless of whether you score or not, especially when you have an opportunity to take it into overtime right there, and Camden almost made him pay.
That's right.
I'm anxious to see right now. We go into the overtime, and I have to believe that both coaches are going to go right back to what they did in the 4th quarter right there, get the ball to their big guns, let them start the momentum happening there, and then let everybody else take over and get in their groove with them.
Helena has Pickens, Hilborn, Paige Osved, Cloaker.
Now, the one thing,
Feller
we're mid-season, and these, our main girls here put a lot of minutes on the floor right now. We haven't had an entirely bunch of subbing. There's been some subbing, but for short spurts of time.
Right.
So, be interesting to see how the conditioning takes over.
Sullivan wins the tip. Sorry to cut you off there. Sheridan, Lindbo, Kidder, and Gross for Capital. Hilborn almost gets it away, and a whistle from that side.
You got to be real careful right there now. But, getting fouls away from the basket like that, everything's going to be one-on-one pretty soon. We're going to be into 2 shots, and again, those are going to loom huge coming down the stretch. You got to be very careful about making fouls away from the basket.
And Paige Osved was charged with that foul. Again, Sheridan coming in, led the state in free throw percentage at 83% in both overall, and this is their 3rd conference game.
Wow.
5'8", just a junior. Good again.
She's a pretty special player, obviously with the great future and having a real good first half of the year.
2 points, the lead for Capital. Back out front after trailing for much of the fourth quarter. No good from Pickens. Sullivan gets the rebound inside. 30 seconds gone in the extra frame. Handoff, Gross, off the screen. Traveling violation. Haven't seen many of those tonight.
No, you know, honestly, the girls, both sides have played very good. I'd like to see the stats on turnovers and stuff, though. But other than that first, you know, maybe 3 minutes of the game where we got a little scruggly in there, the girls they've handled the ball well. They played good basketball, and neither team shot great, I'm sure, but they really have played good basketball.
Paige Osved's three rolls out. Capital somehow able to keep it in bounds on the baseline. And now they have it inside, 3 minutes to go. Inside, and it rolls around and goes down out of the hand of Linbo.
I'm going to tell you right now, when Coach Pilgrim goes back and watches this film, and very, very important buckets, and there's been 3 screens, maybe 4 screens set by Katie Culver under the basket that have freed up 8 points for Capital on easy buckets.
Big time 3 ball by Camden Hillborn.
That's a great
and a
answer.
Timeout.
Great answer by Helena High. But Katie Culver has done such an incredible job screening in the paint tonight.
And how about Hillborn from straight away?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'd want the ball in anybody else's hands if I was on that team right there, boy. She's been in a lot of big situations, like you said, 2 state championships in soccer, and 2 or 3 state champion pole vault. To be honest with you, I'm not even really sure. But and then she won a state championship in basketball. She's probably the most decorated or as decorated girl athlete that's been through Helena High, and there's been some awful good ones.
No question. Just over 2 to go. Hillborn pokes it away. It stays with Capital. And both these coaches, obviously, but also the players, talk about the environment of Crosstown. Coming down to the end of it, both student sections and beyond into the standing room only crowd, bringing the energy. And now a foul called on Hillborn.
That's a very nice job of Silverwood at just handling that. It's relentless pressure by Hillborn, and I just don't know why they want to keep playing with that fire, to be honest with you. Silverwood's a very, very good player, handles the ball nice, but Camden, she's a specialty at stealing the ball and getting kids to turn the ball over, and I just not sure why they want to stay there, but paid off on this trip, and Silverwood hits a big, I'm sorry.
No, you're right, Sheridan.
Sheridan hits a big free throw there.
Capital is in the double bonus with 10 Helena team fouls. And you don't want Sheridan shooting them because she's 4 for 4 in the overtime period.
Yeah, she is a good basketball player.
Hillborn inside. The block by Casey Gross stays at this end. Down by 3. Hillborn inbounding the ball to Feller. Hand in her face from Culver. She makes the block. Linbo with the ball. Poked away by Hillborn, and they're going to call a foul on that one.
Now we got to be careful. Hillborn's got to be careful here. He's going to give her 4, Pickens 4. We still got 2 minutes. 2 minutes, a lot of time right now. And again, I think that's the 3rd foul away from the basket for Helena High in this overtime, and Capital's making them pay for it.
Linbo good on the first to make it a 2-possession game.
That's the difference right now as the free throws here. And again, all 3 fouls away from the basket.
And all of the foul shots, including that one, have gone in. And it's a 5-point game with 2 minutes to go. Bengals down 5, have not lost since last Valentine's Day. Cloaker, no good. Rebound, Hilborn fouled on her way back up. Hilborn is the only one who scored in this overtime period so far on that 3.
I'm not sure she's given the ball up once in overtime. I think she's taking the ball to the basket every time. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Again, she makes a majority, but she's closer to 50 than she is to 100 on the year for free throws. So if she makes this one, it's par for the course. It would be her 4th point of overtime. No good.
Oh.
Still down 5, Capital with the basketball.
Great rebound. Now they're going to pull everything out, force Helena High to play tough man-to-man defense, and then start making decisions on when they're going to foul.
No shot clock in Montana high school basketball.
Yeah, and when are we going to address that anyway? You know, not being a basketball guy or anything, but we got to address that. I'm going to take that one to the old MHSA guys and see when that's going to happen.
You and Guy Almquist, and I'm sure there's other people who would be with you on that one.
Yeah, I think it's definitely ready, and that's just my opinion.
With a minute to go, up by 5 is Capital, and Cloaker will foul. So Linbo will go to the line. And remain perfect.
It's got to be about 7 straight for Capital, isn't it, from the free throw line?
Linbo makes it 8 straight.
And again, I will reiterate, that's 8 points that have been scored away from the basket.
Right.
All 4 fouls away from the basket.
Hilborn inside, foul on her way up. Just under a minute to go in this one. Helena still, now they just entered the double bonus. So 10 team fouls on each side in the second half and overtime. Hilborn can't make that one. She's 0 for 3 from the line so far in overtime.
Interesting here now. We got Cloaker comes out, 3-point shooter. Now Maddie Merigard's going to come in the game for her first appearance.
Peyton Osved was on the floor, and now she's in the huddle as Helena and Capital take another timeout here with 56 seconds to go, down 7 in your own building. I mean, Capital's got to finish this one out.
Oh, definitely. I mean, they're in a position here that you don't want to give up a lead in this situation. These things aren't going to happen very often with 2 good teams, and but they've done it by just handling the ball and making free throws. You know, there's no doubt about it, and that's going to be the difference. Unless Helena High can work their way back in here.
And we expect the second game of this crosstown rivalry over at the Baird end to be just as good. Right now, we are in the jungle. There's the Helena High student section trying to get behind their team, down 7 with under a minute to play.
Yeah,
it's a tall task by any stretch.
Oh no, 56 seconds is a long time. There's a lot of things are going to happen here, and we're going to get a lot of quick fouling, so the free throw line's obviously going to be a big factor right now.
Hilborn makes her first of the overtime period. And she will sit down. In comes Maddie Merigard. Averages a couple points a game.
My guess is here we must be trying to save Hilborn fouls.
And now so Hilborn
she'll
and
come
Cloaker are next to the bench, as it's a 6-point game, and Sheridan will go to the line.
Yeah, they're getting Hilborn out on defense to save fouls so that she doesn't have to be the one that fouls, and she'll get right back in on offense. But I'm telling you, Capital is hitting their free throws and going to make it awful tough to sneak back into this one.
Culver back into the game. And the starters are all back out there, I think, for both teams.
Yeah, you're gonna get into a time here now that you're gonna have to start looking at maybe taking 3-pointers. This is the one you want right there.
Pickens does not go down. It was in the basket, but it bounced out. And Paige Osved makes that foul. There's a shot of both student sections over on the sideline. Gross is the first Capital player not named Megan Lindbow or Sydney Sheridan to take a free throw in the overtime period, but she makes it 11 for 11 so far in overtime.
Wow, that's incredible.
In fact, all but Sheridan's first, by my calculations, have gone in from the charity stripe for Capital, so that's a big difference here in the waning seconds with a 9-point lead.
That is amazing.
Put
Great
a little bit of
composure by their girls.
Put a little bit of time back on the clock. Sullivan with the rebound. Now she will go to the line. Foul on Feller. So they had made 11 straight. Now Sullivan, the Army West Point commit, makes the first to make it a 10-point game. 45 seconds flat left in this one. And Pickens able to gather up the defensive rebound. Cloaker with the contested three, no good. And it's gets away from Feller. Gross will go back to the line. We'll see who they call the foul on. It's on Feller. It's her third.
Just a great job by Capital. Very experienced basketball team. Gets the game to go into overtime, and then just pure composure. Good free throw shooting, and you know something I'm sure Coach Pilgrim expects out of these seniors. They mix in a couple juniors, but this is a very senior-oriented, very experienced basketball team, and they showed it tonight. That's a big road win for them now as they get into the stretch. I know Helena High goes to Sentinel on Thursday, and I believe Capital might have them on Saturday.
That's right.
So, man, what a great week of basketball in for AA girls over on the western side.
3 from straight away, no good from Hilborn, as there's 12 points separating these teams with just 25 seconds to go. See if Helena continues to foul. Sullivan. Sheridan has the ball. And that is foul called on Hilborn, so she'll foul out with that one. Frustrated. Like you said, she is a one-of-a-kind competitor and leader for this Lady Bengals squad.
Oh, yeah, another courageous effort. And, you know, one thing to keep in mind, and this is kind of a different approach, is these
we're going to call her our player of the game, as she just fouled out with 16.2 seconds to go.
Yeah.
We're going to call her our player of the game.
Well, I think there's a bunch of them you can throw that out right now on both sides of the basketball court. I know Capital, great performances, especially by their big girls, and then Sheridan at the line right now. I mean, they had a great team effort tonight. There's no doubt about that. I was going to say before, you know, one thing for the people to keep in mind this year is there's a divisional basketball tournament this year.
Right.
So I'm anxious to see how coaches approach how big is this game really. I mean, right now you're fighting for seeding at the divisional tournament, but come tournament time, anybody can go to the state tournament. It's different than it's been maybe since 1986 or 87 back in there. So it's going to be interesting to see how coaches handle things like that.
That's exactly right.
There's no buys into state.
We're calling Hilborn our player of the game. She had 17 points. And Capital will likely dribble this one out unless Cloaker fouls her. She does not. And so, after 4 straight Helena High wins, Capital is back on the winning side of things in the crosstown rivalry in girls basketball. They move to 9-0. Helena will fall to 8-1, and both these teams we expect to be there at the very end anyway, either way.
No, there's no doubt. You know, and again, we mentioned just a little bit earlier, I think the experience of that Capital group in overtime was big. Helena High committed 4 fouls away from the basket in overtime, and Capital dumps 8 in a row, or I think it didn't get to 11 in a row free throws in overtime, and that was a whole difference right there. So my hat's off to them. What a courageous effort, and that's a fun basketball team. Very well coached, fierce competitors, and exactly what we expected to come into the gym tonight. And
here are the game summary highlights. Hilborn, of course, our player of the game, scored 17 points. There's Sivrud from straight away. And here's Paige Osvid finally getting that 3 to fall, as Helena did get this one to overtime, partially because of Hilborn inside as well. Pickens stepping away, making shots. Cloaker from 3. These are in the first half, most of them. And then Sheridan, of course, as we talked about from the charity stripe, 8 for 8 in the extra frame. And Capital ultimately leaves the jungle tonight with a huge road win, 12 points the separation, 63-49 is the final score in this one. As we talked about, a great week of basketball on tap in the state of Montana, because the Missoula Sentinel Lady Spartans are, along with these two, maybe the 3 best teams in all of the state.
oh, there's no doubt. You know, speaking of Missoula Sentinel, I saw Shannon Swain here, so she came down to get a hands-on look at both teams as they get for the Lady Grizz. You know, as she's got Jamie Pickens coming down there. She's got daughters playing for Missoula Sentinel, so she's probably doing a little scouting on both directions there. But you know, again, I think for Helena High, especially right now, this is a growing process for them. You know, as they've got 2 experienced girls, Jamie and Camden, that played at the state tournament last year, and then some sophomores that are coming in and having to play big roles, and they need to play in big games like this. And there's going to be a lot of great battles through the regular season. And again, I think something that's going to be very interesting to watch as the season goes on is how coaches approach going into a straight tournament. Whether you're a 1 seed or you're a 7 seed going into the tournament, you've got as good a shot as anybody else to go to the state tournament. So that's going to make it very interesting as we go down.
Sheridan had 15 to lead the Lady Bruins, and of course on the Helena side, 17 points for Camden Hilborn. She fouled out very late in this one. It went to overtime between 2 of the top teams in the state. And for Coach Tony Arnston and the rest of the SWX crew, live, bringing this game to you live in a van down by the river, this has been SWX High School Basketball. A 12-point win for Capital tonight. NAU at Montana State is our next broadcast, and we will see you then.